time.
Artist, Drake, thank you for being here.
Thank you for
What's
having me.
going on?
It's been long overdue.
Long overdue. Now, you're here on behalf of FIFA, and I want to let our viewers know the new game is out today. You can actually get a copy of the game during this debate. Tweet us at the secret hashtag as it appears on the screen. And speaking of tweeting,
Yes.
you know where we're going with this.
I'd love to hear it.
Okay,
I'm sure it has something to do with my Twitter.
Hey, does have something to do with your Twitter account. On
Yeah.
September 14th, you tweeted this, Johnny Football Go Time, with the OVO sign. And then we also noticed
Yeah.
that Johnny Football, Johnny Manziel, has the OVO tattoo. Take a look at this, folks. Now, so I have to ask you, how did this relationship even begin, and where is it now? He's one of your boys, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, it really started out with him just being, first of all, Johnny's like one of the best guys. He's got a pure heart. He's very strong-minded. It bothers me when people try and strip him of that, because he is actually like, that's what drew me to him. Is he's definitely like an incredible guy. He was a big supporter of the music, and he actually got the OVO tattoo before we ever really met. He was he was that much of a supporter and a fan, and I just like drew parallels. I like to be a positive reinforcement in his life, and we went from just kind of being, come to the show and me supporting his games, to actually being friends, and I feel like our friendship will last for a very long time. I have like the Aggies radio app on my iPhone, and I pay attention to his performances, and much like he does mine. So yeah, we're a duo.
A Johnny supporter.
I got a lot of love for Johnny. I met him. I had the pleasure of meeting him during the NBA Finals. We had hung out for a while, had dinner together, and then I got him on the show, the surprise skit, when they were at San Antonio for the finals. I appreciate you and the greatness that you exhibit all the time, and especially the way you carry yourself. I got to ask you, in light of that reality, when you look at some of the news that he's generated, I know that you get upset, like you just said, when you see people trying to change him to some degree. What level of culpability do you feel he has for putting himself in some of those situations?
I think that...
And what do you say to him, by the way?
I mean, I think that even with me and, the way I carry myself, I started very early, and some of the mistakes I made weren't widely publicized because I was, on Degrassi, and we weren't that famous. We were famous, but it's stepping stones. It's a learning experience, and I think that to go from, 0 to 100 right away, the spotlight's on, brighter than ever. I think that he's just kind of going through the motions, and of course there is accountability, in some situations. I encourage him to have stronger discipline than anybody else, and I tell him, like, in this position that we're in, it takes major sacrifice, and a lot of the time, I know you want to live your life, and I know you want to have fun, but there's also like a bigger picture here, and we're in it for the long term, and I try and implement that into his psyche, and I say, and I tell him, like, let's have that discipline. Let's sacrifice all the fun, even if it means coming to see me. If they're gonna scrutinize you about coming to see me, don't worry, we'll see each other. You play your game. So that's the best advice I can offer.
I'm with you 100% on your description of Johnny on and off the field.
Yes.
Then I read a quote from his mom in ESPN, the magazine, saying that when Johnny said, "I'm going to go up to Toronto and hang out with Drake," she was horrified by that. Can you give us a little backdrop as to how that weekend went, how wild that weekend was?
I guess that's the thing that bothers me the most is it's kind of offensive to me for people to think that coming and hang out with Drake means I'm gonna, like, your career is going into a downward spiral.
Party buddies
to mom and everybody else, like Paul, who I just talked to, and everybody who assumes that a weekend with Drake is that. My goal is I want to see this kid thrive and succeed. So I would never put him in any situation. I would never put him in jeopardy. He came out there for the music and for the experience, and it was a phenomenal experience. We had fun. I'm the guy that's making sure that, nobody's taking pictures, even if there's nothing, even if we're not doing anything wrong. I'm the one that's like, my eyes are peeled, and I tell everybody around me, like, make sure he's good, taken care of, because it's for me, it's not about hanging out and looking cool because I know Johnny Manziel. I've actually, like, I care about this guy, so Yeah, weekends with Drake don't always have to be wild. Now they do get wild, you know. For example, if me and Skip hang out on the weekend, things might get crazy because
he's so crazy.
He's allowed to.
Trust me, that's the least of your concern.
I was in that started from the bottom video. Remember that? I was in there.
Yeah, they just never want to give you the credit.
Yeah.
You know, listen, and I get where you're coming from. And when I talk about you, it's all relative. I mean, you know, it's all different perspective, environments, and things of that nature. Because I see what being from New York City, knowing a lot of cats in the rap game, I know a lot of the stuff that you have to do, and I know a lot of stuff you avoid. So I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
But I look at a guy, for example, look at a LeBron James, look at a Kobe Bryant. Look at the D Wade and those guys like that. You know a lot of these guys.
Yes.
You've been around a lot of these guys. And obviously Johnny Manziel is on his way up to that level, but he ain't there yet.
Right.
Do you ever find yourself looking at these guys? What do you peel from a LeBron James, from a D Wade, as you look at yourself, as you look at a Johnny Manziel? What do you peel from them based on what you've seen them do, how they've conducted themselves? What do you take away from all of that?
Well, one thing I will say, and I say this a lot about rappers before me as well, but it also goes for athletes, is, you know, when LeBron James was coming up in the ranks, when it was, you know, when it was high school time, when it was, you know, just those initial moments where there was an opportunity to get caught up, you have to remember that, you know, social media was not as rampant as it is now, you know, and I say that about rappers. You know, I can't imagine some of the mess that these guys would have been exposed on back in the day had there been, you know, an outlet for people to go and deliver the message to the world right away. So I will say that I feel like myself and Johnny have it a little harder than the guys before us, but there is something to be said for a LeBron who really is the type of guy, or even like, you know, a KD, you know, these guys are humble. They're focused on the craft.
Don't get much better than them as people.
I'm telling you,
they're great guys.
like that, and that's what it takes. And I will tell you, not to sit here and just be like, you know, I may as well have the JM tat on. Like, you know, I am a huge supporter, and I will tell you that he is no different. You know, his heart and his mind are in the right place. I just think that he is an attraction to the media. You know, he really is, and it's almost the talent and the story are like hand in hand.
Let me transition to a little b-ball instead of football.
Please. Okay.
Miami.
Yes.
Is that who you got this year?
I